religious-based systems, and I will take them one by one. My major complaint is that the logic that atheism uses in criticizing God-based systems has very severe logical limitations and practical limitations. In particular, the method that is used by atheism is this, as I had just given you examples. It's the method is a black and white method, God-based system, religious system versus a system which is secular. Can you give me some idea how many minutes I have already used? Another 10 minutes. Okay, so yes. So the main problem I have with atheism's criticism of religious-based systems is that the method that they use is faulty, and it leads to all kinds of problems. And all their criticisms are based on, emerge from this particular method. And this method is a black and white method. It's a dichotomy. The whole world is either a religious-based system or a, whatever you may want to call it, a secular or non-God-based system. And this is the prism, this is the optic with which they evaluate all issues. And I want to give you examples of that and illustrate that it can lead to several kinds of problems. The first problem it leads to is that of misuse of terminologies. And let me give you some examples of that. Now, when atheism claims that it has something positive to offer, it says, well, we have secularism, we have humanism, we have all kinds of isms. And my criticism of that is that those ideologies do not require that you do not believe in God. So there is no direct linkage in those kind of associated ideologies with the with atheism. I mean, you can be a committed communist and have a religious faith of any kind. So there is, similarly, you can be a humanist. All religious people are fundamentally humanists. And so, I mean, at the base of it. So, the misuse of terminology is rampant. And there are many examples I can give them to you. Then, the second major problem is that God-based, the criticism based on this dichotomy leads to very inaccurate assessment of political situations. So it leads to what I would call wrong interpretations. Let me just give you a couple of examples of that. According to this analysis, according to this method of analysis used by atheists, it would mean that all secular ideologies are equally good. For example, fascism or communism, liberal democratic capitalism, whatever you have. Because there are only two ways of looking at things. Either you have a God-based system or you have secular system. So, in the same way, it will make no distinction between different kinds of faith-based systems. Another problem of this misuse of this dichotomy is that it ignores the fact that through religious labeling, it camouflages a lot of other political forces. For example, I can give you an example of a troubled city in my country called Karachi, which is now regarded as the worst kind of violent city in the world. And very often you hear there are all kinds of ethnic and economic and other forces which are causing strife in the city. But you very often hear all of these labeled under religious, either the problems are being caused by one religious group or another religious group. And in fact, the religious differences are often used to camouflage all other differences. So these are just a couple of examples. I could also give you the example of the Mr. Bush's war against Saddam Hussein. You know, whatever reason that he was going into that country for, one of the main reasons that was offered at one point was that it is going to, that this regime is a Taliban's regime, supported by Taliban, and so these are the kind of, it's the religion is used to camouflage other interests, and atheist view of the world, which is a dichotomous world, contributes to that. Now, the next point that I will make is that because of this dichotomy, another problem that arises is that the way the society's development takes place is a complex of many different forces, and if you categorize all these processes only in the two categories, then you miss out on the complexity of the issues. And the point that I want to make is that the point that I want to make is that the societal development, social growth, problems in society, all these things are a complex of forces, and if you take two societies, one which is supposedly faith-based, another which is not, the human interactions, the human motivations, the way the values are developed, the way the institutions are developed, these are the work of forces which are quite independent of what faith one has or what faith one does not have. The processes of societal development, the fundamental issues of individual freedom, of how individuals live with one another, these problems are common across societies. And of course, whether there is a particular religion followed by a particular kind of people, shapes the values and institutions. But the important point to remember is that even if there is some faith is through divine, it is inspiration, the implementation of that. 1 minute? Thank you. The implementation a process is one which is always by different representatives, either representatives of God or the representatives of the state. So the important thing is that it's the humans, the individuals, that make the difference, and these individuals are working on similar kind of motivations. So the point that I'm making is that whatever the background system may be, the implementation of any, whether it is a secular or it is a God-based system, its implementation processes and the fundamental issues of distribution of resources and rights and privileges in society are decided by people. It's the individual, it's the human beings, and in that sense, it is secular. So whatever the origin, let me just give you an example. Take the 6th century BC, and there was, at one place in China was Confucius developing certain systems of values. And according to the atheist, he was not inspired by God,